Hi, everybody. Good morning. So, yeah, wow, last couple days been pretty crazy. Um, just because of the whole menstruation stuff and definitely a different menstruation, especially when I drank my juice on top of it, which I usually don't do. But I'm kind of glad I did because there was a whole nother level of healing that I was not expecting. And it was a battle, I'll tell you that much. So on top of all of that, I was focusing on when people invest in the J juice, and then when people do the J juice and when they don't, and then likening it to like the stock market and all that stuff. So then I started talking about directed energy versus diverted energy, and then when people do the juice, when they're at the top of their game and then they have to take a hit, which it really isn't taking a hit, but you're diverting the energy from your job to now to you. So then you can be better at your job and have more of a longevity with your job. It's not like a flash in the pan. Because that's kind of right now what our world is like, is where you are going to be good at your job for a certain amount of time and then you're going to fall. Okay, what the whole J juice is to now proactively at the top of your game, take a little bit of a hit, cut down on your expenses, and divert the energy from your job and from all of your responsibilities, but not like totally like absolve yourself from responsibilities, but just kind of shift the energy to where then you put it on yourself and you heal yourself. So that way you go back to your job and you can be there a lot longer, more consistent, and probably even more strategic. Okay, so it's like directed energy and diverted energy. Directed energy is when you're at the bottom of your game. You already know you have cancer, disease, and chronic illness. You've already taken a hit at your job because you can't do as much because you're so sick. And so you are now directing your energy towards yourself, and you're still getting your responsibilities done, but you're at the bottom of your game. And that's where I stood when I started doing Jilly Juice. I was at the bottom of my game. And I'm like, okay, I can't get any lower than this. This is as low as I'm going to go. So I might as well just do the J juice and create the J juice and deal with all the backlash, because then it becomes a rising from there. Every single month, every single year, it has gotten better and better and better as far as the information, the revelations, and then people understanding the information. Okay? And so no matter where you are, whether you're at the top of your game or at the bottom of your game, it doesn't matter. It's easier at the bottom of your game because you can't get any lower. It is a bit harder at the top of your game because you have no incentive to really take a hit. And I don't mean it in a pejorative way, taking a hit. It just means that you have to redirect your energy. You have to divert your energy from making all this money. That it's like when you eat a bunch of food and you have leaky gut, you're not going to be actually absorbing the minerals and then the nutrients the way you should to heal and seal. And so it's just like wasted energy, wasted food, because then you just cycle through a body that's not absorbing it and not storing the reserves for a rainy day, or to help you when you do go through an adaptation because yeah, every single time you go into a new environment or a new situation or a new weather change, you have to use minerals. The body uses energy, and you need to have that stored energy there. And if you don't have it there, then the body steals resources from the 11 different systems. First your hair, skin, and nails, then also then your bones. And then that's where the aging process comes in. So yeah, so it's just at the top of your game, you're taking in all this money, like you're making all this great money, but it's really going to waste because you're not going to be able to use it because you're going to be dead, or you're going to be so weak that you're going to make wrong decisions and invest in something the bottom's going to fall out and you'll lose it anyways. That's the whole point of J juice, understanding minerals and energy and when to use it and when it's a waste of energy, especially on a leaky gut when you're not absorbing the minerals correctly the way you should, when you're not absorbing the nutrients the way you should, and then you have behaviors and you have practices that are really going to work against you and your family in the long run. Okay? And so a lot of you are faced with those two choices. And I'm glad I was at the bottom of my game versus the top, because if I was at the top of my game, I probably wouldn't have done this. And probably most of you who are at the top of your game are not going to want to divert your energy from the top of your game because you're winning. And when you're winning, or what you perceive as winning, you're not going to want to change anything. And why should you? But then you realize that at some point, that winning is going to end. Just like with the stock market. The stock market can only be so like so exciting, and you're making all this money for only so long. Companies, I mean, when you saw like the whole rise of the tech boom, that only lasted for so long. People are making money hand over fist, all these new, .coms, and then all these new all these different venture capitalists and all this money, they were investing in everything, and money was flowing freely and everything was expensive, that at some point the bottom fell out. No different than the mortgage crisis. Money was free, credit was free, basically everything was like free, and then the bottom fell out. So those types of things only last so long. And your job, the way you're doing your job, being the top of your game with your job, only lasts so long. Because remember, when you have bad health, you take a hit, and so does your job, and so do your relationships. And some people don't survive them taking a hit when it comes to their health. Now, when you proactively look at the J juice and you proactively take a hit, you already know what to expect. You've already put all your duckies in a row to let everybody know, okay, I'm doing the J juice. I'm going to cut down on my expenses. I'm not going to run as much, or I'm not going to do as much as I used to. However, these are the least the least that you can expect from me. Okay? And you set up the people around you correctly so they don't get shocked that you're changing, or that you're laying low, or you're being quiet, or however this juice is going to manifest in your world while you're on it. And it's going to be a few years. This is not going to be some short-term wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. I mean, I'm going into my 4th year, okay? My husband had to get used to, and he's still getting used to, the new Jillian. He still tries to fight against it. He still tries to play the games that we played before I did the protocol. But he ultimately knows that there's definitely a change in Jillian, okay? And some will like totally embrace it. Other people will not be able to embrace it. And hopefully the people that you are married to, or that you're around, your family, will embrace the changes. Some of the families out there will not support people doing this. And that's going to be a harder road for some of you to climb up, or climb, or walk, or whatever. But if you have resolve, and you know this information like the back of your hand, you've watched me the last couple of years, then it won't matter what other people say or what other people do. You'll just do what you do, and you won't really say too much about it. Okay? So when you're at the bottom of your game, you're directing your energy really towards the J juice and getting your responsibilities done, at least the least amount of responsibilities done, to make sure that everybody's taken care of for the most part. But you're really directing energy towards yourself. When you're at the top of your game, and even Kevin knows people who are at the top of their game, and he's tried to coach people in this J juice, and they're at the top of their game, and they're finding every excuse not to do it because they don't want to divert their energy from the top of their game. And so when you realize when someone is so successful right now and they're in the moment, it's hard to get them off that train. Even they know there's potential in this, they know it, but it's easier to take a pill, powder, supplement, or a detox, or a drug than it is to actually heal and feel the pain. And so this is when, you as a person need to figure out who it is you invest. Even I'm not trying to tell people to coach people, but sometimes we do have friends out there. Like I have friends in my world that I'm willing to coach because I know them personally, they know me, but I don't coach anybody on the internet. But if I have friends in my world that say, hey, they say they want to do this and they want my help, I am more than happy, since they're right next to me, I'm willing to help them out. But strangers, no, because I have no idea your intentions. Okay? But we have enough warnings out there of people who are like, oh my God, the J juice is so horrible. And I've already said that pain is going to be involved, that people shouldn't really be surprised what to expect. It may surprise them because they didn't know that they had things that are weak in their body that are lurking that will be coming to surface when they're on the J juice. But they predominantly know what to expect if you've been following me for a while. Okay? So, you either rise and you fall, or you fall and you rise, but either way, And then some people are right in the middle. They're between rising and falling. They're just kind of riding the wave a little bit. Now with the J juice, people who invest in the J juice, you're going to continuously rise because we have 7 billion people to get through in this planet. 7 billion people. We cannot possibly fall anytime soon. So this is for Kevin, for Bridget, for Lillian, for any of those, and all of you guys that are investing in J juice in some way or another. There is no fall with J juice because we have 7 billion people to get through, to go and figure out and help them out in some way, even if we're just dropping seeds. Because ultimately they already know what to expect with their life. They keep doing the way they're doing, they're going to end up like their parents. So it's already predictable in the matrix and alternative matrix what to expect. But with the J juice, you can never fall. Okay, because you can only rise. We have created the J juice from nothing, from at the bottom of our game. I created the J juice at the bottom of my game. So there is nothing that's going to make me fall below the J juice, because J juice is a life-giving, it is a mineral regenerative, it is a mineral saving type of protocol. And then it translates in your productivity, it translates in your body, mind, and spirit, the clarity of thought, the choices that you make, the reactions that you have, the sidestepping of the punches. Okay? I mean, the J juice will only make you rise. It will never make you fall. However, when you're at the top of your game in the matrix and then you have to heal, you could take it as a fall because now your energy is now being diverted to you, into your intestines and into all the healing, and it's not being diverted to somebody else, giving you then these coins that are really going to do you no good when you haven't healed and sealed. So when you're making money on a body that's degrading, it's like taking food on a body that has candida or has leaky gut. It's not going to do much for you. It might give you a little bit of a stay of execution. You might have a little bit of energy for that day. Those coins might give you a little bit of pleasure. You go on a trip, you buy an item, you have temporary, happiness, but you have to keep producing to get those temporary happinesses. Because even if you store it, now you got to protect that money. And on a weak body, you could be making wrong investments, wrong choices. One day the bottom's going to fall out, and then all your shit's there, but you're not able to enjoy it. And you worked your ass off for then the government or for your relatives now go and enjoy, or whoever it is you bequeathed all your minerals to when you pass away. I don't think anyone should be inheriting anybody's money. It's not the money that they earned. If people give it as a gift, okay, but even then. And that's why families go crazy when someone dies, because everyone wants to get their hands on that inheritance. Hey, Tiffany. Okay, so why not just live and enjoy the fruits of your labor, and you keep producing? Just like you are right now, you're producing. Some people call it slave labor. No, if you were a caveman, you'd have to get up off your ass and haul water and go fight for your food and protect your woman and protect your man and whatever. So no matter what, you're going to have to be a slave to your own cells. The reason why we go to work every day is because we need to keep our infrastructure and some kind of order in our community. If not, you have chaos and death. Okay, so there's directed energy when you're at the bottom of your game and you have nowhere else but go up, or you are a proactive person and you're diverting your energy from the temporary enjoyment of minerals, superficial minerals, and accolades to now towards you, and you're willing to kind of take a hit in your income so you can then direct the minerals towards yourself to heal and seal. And then you will then be a continuous, consistent producer in our society, and you're actually far richer because you'll be living longer than a person who is living to about 60 or 50 or 70, and they can't make any more money because they're dead, but you are living beyond them, making money, and you're saving, and then you're not spending everything, and every single year that you put money away, that's more reserves, so to fall back on a rainy day or to absorb the fluctuations in the market. Because the market's always going to change. Shit's going to change all the time, and are you prepared for those changes? Is your body prepared for those changes? I mean, that's what savings is. And I'm working on that myself. Okay. So not only am I trying to save my minerals in my body, but then I'm going to work on, saving minerals in my bank account. But when you're coming from the matrix where you're in debt in the matrix, you got to kind of catch up a little bit and pay off the debt first before you can save minerals in your bank account. Thank you, Tiffany. She said, your wisdom has changed my life forever. Forever young. Love you, JJ. Yes, love you too. Okay, so really, when you're at the top of your game in the matrix, you're really not at the top of your game, because the fall is going to happen at some point. And some of you will have the fall happen sooner than others because it's based upon your genetics, your predisposition. And if there's any indicators out there, look at your parents. Look at your relatives. Those are the indicators of when the fall is going to happen for a lot of you. Now, you can try to do all your detoxes and all your little pills and powder supplements, but that only will accelerate the fall because you already have imbalances, and those are imbalanced chemistries that are going to just tip the scales at some point. Okay? So that's kind of like the whole thing with the J juice is no matter where you start, it's good. But when you're at the bottom, you're going to have to make sure that you have enough support system, that you have enough minerals coming in to keep your rent paid so you can get so that way you have a place to go and shit, and that way you have enough money to go get the cabbage, water, and salt and food, and that you can survive the winter, spring, summer, fall, okay, on a consistent basis. And then you allow time for the healing process. Or those of you that are on disability or on Social Security, you guys have it made, or you guys are retired. You guys are on Social Security, disability, have it made, or you have like independent wealth. You guys have it freaking made, because all you can do, you just put all your eggs in the basket of yourself, allow yourself to heal and seal, and you don't have to go on all these different trips and travel. Just pay attention to yourself. Get yourself healed and sealed, and then when you're at that point where you're so healed and sealed and you're looking like you're 50 years younger, and you were on disability and you're on Social Security and all of that, now you can enjoy your Social Security and then maybe potentially create something that will then, you can still have Social Security, and then you can do a job or create something for humanity and double, triple your income. And then that will translate not only in your bank account, but also in your body. Okay, so it's like those that are retired, that are sitting at home collecting money from the government, you guys have it a lot more made than those of you who have to work. And that, I'm telling you, that is a gift from freaking God right there. Okay, take advantage of it when you can. But some won't recognize that gift and they'll just squander it. Some of you are trust fund babies. Trust fund babies that are wasting your minerals on marathons and races and trying to impress your family by winning triathlons and all that stuff. And you're aging, and you're a trust fund baby. You should be doing the J juice. Okay? And then getting your body, mind, and spirit completely aligned. And then figure out what can you do to really help humanity, because you're a trust fund kid that could then double and triple your own minerals as well as everything else, and then figure out how can you help your own generation of trust fund children. Because I'm looking at all the rich out there that I was telling you, if they would just chill out and do the J juice. But yeah, I mean, that's gonna, the rich, the ones that are in the dynasties, like the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and the Hiltons and all of those, they're gonna cycle through reproduction and go through that. If they even do the J juice, I'd be surprised if this even reaches any of those people up in the high levels of government or dynasties. So, but yeah, we have nothing but time. So those of you that are investing in J juice, there's not going to be any bottom that's going to fall. You're already at the bottom. because death's already imminent for a lot of you anyways. So all you can do is rise and continuously live. Okay? So so this is why this is the best time to invest in JJ's when you're all at the bottom. Even at the top of your game, you're still at the bottom, because the bottom's going to fall out for a lot of you because you already see the indicators. Look at your parents. Look at your family. Look at your friends. Look at your belief system if you believe people should die. You're already at the bottom. And isn't that the best time to buy and invest according to the stock market? And people are at the top of their game, they buy, and guess what? They die. They buy at the top of their game and they die, right? So the best way to invest, best time to invest, when you are surrendering, when you are discouraged. Even though you're not discouraged at the top of your game, you already know there's a bottom going to come up pretty soon. It's just a matter of when. So all of you, even at the top of your game, you're still at the bottom of your game because death is imminent. Not right at this moment, but it's in your future. You keep going the way you're going. So this is the best time to invest in the JJ's when you're at the bottom of your game and the top of your game, because everything actually, bottom and top of the game, is still, you're at the bottom because you already see the indicators of when the bottom is going to fall out. You guys already know. That's the thing with the whole thing with human life, is that with the stock market, you really can't predict too much. Good morning, John. You can't predict too much. You can predict a little bit, but not too much. But with humanity, you can predict when the bottom is going to fall out for every single family, because the indicators are there, but they haven't really paid attention. And so this is one of the best times to invest. So humanity must invest in the JJ's because you already see the bottom is going to fall out pretty soon. Some of you haven't got to the point of capitulation and surrendering. Some of you are not very discouraged. Some of you are not in dismay. So you're not going to invest according to you because you think you're at the top of your game. But no, you're not. You're at the bottom of your game. You just haven't seen it yet. You haven't even noticed it yet. But the indicators are there. You're just ignoring it. Okay? So right now, just in the context, which really isn't I mean, it is a context, but it isn't. But in the context of our matrix of who's at the top of the game and who's at the bottom of their game, if you're at the top of your game and you're making all this money and you're so successful according to the matrix, and you finally are proactive and you can see that the indicators are there, that your top of your game is not going to last long, the bottom is going to fall out at some point, maybe it's time to then divert your energy to then yourself so you can actually heal and seal and build up the coffers in your body. So when you do make money, it's not going to go to waste. Okay, and that you will have reserves that are not going to disappear because you're dead or you made a wrong investment because of the misalignment of your body, mind, and spirit. And those of you at the bottom of your game where you can't go any lower than where you are, all you can do is rise. Either way, you're going to win with JJ's. Either way. Because now you see what I've been around for almost, it's going to be 4 years on the JJ's. I'm doing pretty well for the most part, relative to what's out there. Okay, so you see what to expect. I've given you enough indicators to know what to expect. I've prepared most of you pretty well. And I have all these free videos on YouTube. I have a book. I have a secret public Facebook group. I have my personal Facebook page. I have a business page. If you don't get it by now, then you're never going to get it. Kevin says, so true. I'm actually going back in time day by day, revisiting my old symptoms one by one. Time for some waterfalls today. Oh yeah, it's a trip, Kevin. I'm telling you what, when I did the J juice on my period, I revisited a symptom of a stupid constipation diarrhea combination. But it would happen in 1 day or 2 days actually, because yesterday I kind of experienced a little bit, and today finally everything released. But that whole symptom combination was like a week or 2 weeks for me. Okay, so 2 weeks of misery that happened only in like 2 days. That's like huge. And then John says, yesterday I felt like a baseball bat. I'm sure. I mean, when your body's releasing the excess and healing and sealing and all of that, it's not fun. But it's necessary because it was a gradual degradation for a lot of you. So every single time you had a symptom, and you felt it, because that's what then triggers you to go get all your pills, powder supplements, and detoxes and therapies. And so then you go and anesthetize yourself, and then another symptom happens, and you go and anesthetize yourself, and then another symptom. So then you count how many times you've dealt with your symptoms the wrong way, and then now with the J juice, it's saying, okay, we're going to deal with the most aggressive symptom, and we're going to deal with it. And then it turns out like, yeah, John feels like he feels like he got hit with a baseball bat. Okay, yeah, sometimes it happens that way. Sometimes it happens where I feel like I was bloated for freaking 2 days. It was probably the most uncomfortable feeling you could ever imagine. And I'm doing the J juice thinking, okay, I'm going to push everything through, and my body is still holding on to it. So imagine holding on to crap and then holding on to the J juice, holding on to water that I've drank to try to push everything through, and it'll release a little bit at a time. That's how frustrated I was for the last 2 days. That was the healing part of the J juice, because it had a direct correlation to the PMDD symptoms. So, and then Kevin goes, yes, it's also 2 weeks for me with every symptom. Now dealing with the itchy scalp again, I haven't felt that symptom for years. Yeah, I can only imagine. So yeah, I mean, how many injuries you have? I mean, however many injuries you've had in the past, John, however many issues you guys have dealt with in the past, whatever PTSD trauma you've ever felt, even what your family has felt, because it did translate to your genes, that's going to come to surface, and you're all going to have to deal with it. It's going to be something that you're going to have to deal with. And some can't deal with it, and they'll go take their drugs and say, screw this, I'd rather go out with a bang and justify it and say, oh, I just can't handle it. But some of you are at the top of your game in the matrix, and you don't want to take a hit. What's a hit? Where you have to divert your energy. Because it's not like the J juice is hurting you. It's just that you got to divert your energy. Divert your energy from outside to inside. And then you will collect the real minerals, because that money is just a representation of minerals. But when you don't take care of your body, the bottom falls out. And you see it in the stock market, you see it in humanity, you see it in families. Bottoms fall out in families all the time, because look at your grandparents, look at your parents. That's basically the stock market taking a nosedive. That's like the Great Depression. When you look at death is like the Great Depression. Okay? And just like any kind of bubble, it's going to burst. We have a lot of bubbles right now out there in the stock market. A lot of bubbles. And so now, and humanity is right now living in this type of bubble where the bottom is going to fall out for a lot of you, and some sooner than others. And so with the whole thing with the J juice is that you mitigate the bubble bursting. But you have to understand what it takes. If you're at the top of your game, you divert your energy. At the bottom of your game, you're directing your energy. I mean, it's still the same thing. You can divert energy even at the bottom of your game, because you have so many things going on. All of these different support groups and protocols and people to help you through the bottom of your game, right? And so then you're going to have to really divert energy from that and direct it towards you with the J juice. And you let all of that distraction go. All the groups, all the activism, all of the social stuff. I mean, it's okay to kind of crawl into your hole a little bit and just focus on you. I've been doing it for the last 3 years. I'm still healing. I'm still getting my duckies in a row. Kevin's still healing. Bridget's still healing. Lillian's still healing. And we're all healing at different rates. Okay? I've been on the juice the longest with the less amount of issues. Kevin had a lot more issues, but he's younger than me, but he has a lot more issues. Lillian is a bit older than me, and she's a lot more issues than me, so she's going through her process. Bridget is older than me with a lot more issues, but she's doing well. But she's still got a lot of issues that she has to deal with. All of you guys are going through the rate of your healing at different, at different speeds, and it's okay. However, if some of you are out of line, then I'll let you know. I know you're healing, but if you're out of line, then you're out of line. I'm going to let you know that. Okay, so you know, it's okay to crawl into your hole and just let everybody go for a minute. Not like really let everybody go, because you said if you have family, if you have kids, you don't want to obviously let them go, but you prioritize you first, because if you don't take care of you, how can you take care of your family? So you take care of you first, then your kids, then your wife, then your bills, and that's really the priority, because if you're not around, how can you take care of your kids or your wife or your husband? Okay, so really you come first. It's not selfish if you take care of you. It's not, because you are the ultimate thing that's going to make sure that your job goes and that your house runs. You know, I look at everybody out there in the world, I'm like, wow, what happens if that person dies? That's a breadwinner there. What happens if that person dies? That family's going to crap. Do they have life insurance? Do they have all these backup plans? You know, and then I'm like, wow, it's just like you realize how fragile families are when one breadwinner dies or gets so sick where they can't produce to the level that the family's used to. Now everybody in the family has to pick up the slack, which they should anyways. But you see it, and people feel it when somebody takes a hit in their health. And it's better that you plan with the J juice and know that you're going to be not 100% on your game as far as what's expected, and that you plan to take more of a back seat and stuff, so that way you can focus on you, versus having it come out of you out of left field and you're not prepared for it. That's the whole thing with the J juice, is proactivity, bringing up the healing process, knowing that you're going to have to divert your energy, and you prepare your people around you for that. My husband wasn't prepared for all of this, okay? So I give him a lot of credit that he's adapted to everything, that all the changes and all the different things that we've gone through the last 4 years. And it was tough. Some of you have seen just the ups and downs that we go through, and we still go through ups and downs. It's not always perfect, but we deal with it a little bit differently. He still is the same kind of guy. He still is who he is, but I've dealt with it differently because my biochemistry has changed. Okay? And so you guys can always change the dynamics in your relationship when you change how it is you respond in your relationship. And some of you are really in toxic relationships and you need to get out, and you'll make those moves. Others of you are not in really toxic relationships, but you know, you're able to manage, you know, that there is a lot more good in that person than there is bad, and so you find ways to divert energy so that way it doesn't turn into something, you know, something stupid turn into something huge. Okay, so it's the J juice will definitely change your life, but you have to stick with it. And that's one of the hardest things with people who've been on the J juice, you know, since like 2016, 2017. They've gone on and gone off, gone on, gone off. Finally, they're back on. Some people are coming back, okay, that have been off for a bit. Some people have left it, and I understand, because it's not for everybody. It's definitely, it's intense. But at some point when you're at the bottom of your game, when you're literally at the bottom of your game and you have exhausted everything that you feel that you can do, it's when the J juice will be there. Or people just give up. They're like, screw it. I'm too far gone for me to turn back to J juice. I was on J juice many years ago, but I didn't want to face the healing process. And now I'm too far gone. And some of you will be facing that too. It's a reality. I know it, I see it. And there's nothing really much you can do. So all you can do is introduce this and be the example. Okay? Be the example. You know, it's like when you're so rich with this information, act like you're poor, but still give the information, but don't flaunt it too hard, because then it turns people off. But hey, you know, I went through the same thing too. Some of you are going through the same process that I've been going through, because you want to transfer your feeling, you want to feel vindicated for your knowledge, and you want to shove this information on people's throats, and you want to be this activist. And I totally get it. I was there. Okay, so you'll go through your process, and then you'll find the most comfortable way to exemplify, to reach people, but to also to exemplify a well-balanced healing person without turning off everybody around you, and set your boundaries. And so you guys are seeing how that is manifesting in your life. And it's okay to say a crossword. Okay, it's okay to let it all hang out when it needs to. And it's easier for women to let it all hang out and say a crossword than it is for some men out there. Some men can say a crossword, but some men are very, very, you know, they don't have those major hormonal fluctuations like I do. If I didn't have my period, and I'll tell you the truth about this, if I didn't have reproduction, I have all that hormonal stuff, I would be pretty even keeled. However, I would still hold people accountable, but when I go through my hormonal changes, the once a month, I hold people accountable through specific hormones, okay? And so they won't be like the kind oxytocin setting boundaries. It'll be like, "Brah!" And yeah, it'll be a very aggressive setting boundaries. But either way, I'm going to set boundaries through an oxytocin way or through an aggressive, you know, crossword way. But either way, I'm setting boundaries. So it's so some of you, you know, you're not going through those hormonal fluctuations, so it's easy just to kind of stay even keeled and not say a crossword, and maybe you do set boundaries in different ways, and that's fine. But no matter what, when you know what you know, and you know this isn't right, you're going to set a boundary, and it's going to filter through whatever hormone is present at the time. Doesn't mean that it's wrong. It doesn't mean that the decision, the choice to respond to someone is wrong. Just the delivery is probably a bit different than somebody else who has a different hormone that's present at the time. Okay, so I can set a boundary in a very aggressive way 2 days before my period, and Kevin can set a boundary in a non-aggressive way. Either way, it's setting a boundary. As long as the boundary is set, it doesn't matter how it's delivered, because you're going to set a boundary. They're not going to like you no matter what. Okay, so it is what it is. All right, so that's what I want you guys to understand. When you see me set boundaries in very aggressive ways, it'll still be the same boundary, but you know, if going through an oxytocin way, it's going to be really no different than through an adrenalized way. It's still setting a boundary. Someone crossed it, I'm going to deliver and set the boundary. Okay, so that's how you kind of understand me and not make people wrong for expressing what's going on at that time. Okay, so yeah, everyone that's mad out there, they know something is wrong, but the way they express it is really intense. But they just, you know, now, you know, but now it goes even deeper than they know something is wrong and the way they're expressing it. Now it's like, are they blaming the right people? Are they barking up the right tree or the wrong tree? And so this is where the Jages comes in. It kind of helps you differentiate between the trees to bark up and then the expressing of it and then controlling it and then really turning everything back to you and realize that you are the ultimate one that can change your world. And that's really all the whole point of Jages. That's the whole point of it. So so yeah, that is my take on today. And so, yes, so you guys are at the top or bottom of your game. No matter what, you're all at the bottom of your game because you see indicators the bottom is going to fall out. Because remember, the euphoria only lasts so long. Okay? This is the fluctuations of the market. This is the emotional buying and selling. So no matter what, even at your top of your game, making all this money, at some point, you're going to hit a wall and then you're going to have then the ball out. And better, it's a controlled bottom falling out where you actually control that fall, so that way you can heal and get everybody prepared around you, versus where someone gets taken down by a disease like an autoimmune disorder. So what happens is what I've seen people who are in their 40s, who are doing so great in their job, and then all of a sudden they get hit with an autoimmune disorder, and they took a fall. The bottom just fell out for them. Awesome, John. The bottom fell out for them, and now they are hitting rock bottom, and they can't, and they try to rise up a little bit. Okay, that's where there are all these different protocols out there, but they don't really rise as high as they were before, and now they're less than where they were before. and that is the death process in our society. So these are the J juice. You are prepared for the diverting of your energy to yourself and to the right minerals. So that way all the minerals that you're making right now and the minerals that you're going to make in the future are going to go towards the right things. And it's going to be, you're going to have it on reserve and it's not going to be lost. And then you will be continuously producing for long periods of time. And then maybe those people will end up paying off the $1 trillion deficit in our economy as far as America. But the reason why we're in debt in America, because everybody keeps dying, leaving a long debt behind them. Somebody's got to deal with the debt. So what? Every generation pays off the debt or pays the interest on that debt from generations prior. So maybe how America can get out of the deficit is that if everybody actually lived continuously and paid off the deficit. But that's way in the future. Okay, so you guys have a great day. Enjoy your Friday. My husband will be home at some point today. So anyways, I'll talk to you guys later.